All my people, can I get a hello? Hey yo, welcome back to another episode of the Hello Effect Podcast with me, your host Seek, aka Mr. Hello. Alright, so you mentioned New York and you mentioned Toronto. So break that down. You was born in New York or you was born in Toronto?
So I was born in Toronto.
Okay.
I'm Jamaican and Guyanese.
Okay.
So my parents are from the Caribbean.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of my childhood in New York. So from the Heights in Harlem, but born in Toronto. I live in Toronto currently right now too.
Alright, so I'm happy you could be, live in New York. Shout out to Brooklyn. Alright, so you do a bunch of things. Congratulations. I love art. So which was your first, let me explain this. Which did you fall in love with first?
So I think I fell in love with singing first.
Okay.
Singing first, church. So singing was always my first love. My pops was a DJ. So
Okay.
I started to DJ when I was 8. And then production was like a natural, transition after that. And then so I was singing, I was DJing, I was producing. So I started making my own tracks. So I did my first album self-produced when I was 15.
Okay.
I had distribution when I was a teenager, which was super dope. So yeah, I've been doing this for a real long time.
So you said your pops was a DJ?
Yeah.
So I could just imagine he was a huge supporter in your life.
Huge supporter. He would have the music library I had growing up was crazy. Right, so that's why a lot of my music is influenced by like 90s and 80s because that's what he had me listening to. So yeah, it was super dope.
All right, so did you say you would if you ain't had a support from your family, would it have been a different like path for you?
Yeah, I think so because my house was always just real musical, right? So it was good. It gave me inspiration. It gave me motivation. And then it was also just fun, like just doing stuff with my pops all the time. He was also like real involved, like wanting to like come in and produce tracks with me and all that, right? So, he would, help me with studio equipment. Like I always had like, a little setup and I was doing my own thing, I engineered too. So yeah, it was super dope.
All right, so what you love the most out of all the things you do?
I think out of everything I do, I think it's like at the end of the day, being able to have a project that I've, created out of nothing, right? So I don't think I have a favorite, but just like being able to create a song, write it, produce it, record it, and then it's like 100% all me. Just having that at the end of the day is my favorite part of all of it.
All right, so you've been doing it for some quite time. So what still drives you though? Because if we doing things for a long time, I know me, sometimes I get boring. So I try to switch it up. So break it down. So
I think what drives me is it's still fun for me. Like I'm an artist, I'm a musician. So like, the actual process of making music is what drives me. I recently just signed a deal to
congratulations.
Eastbound Media. Thank you. And we're distributed by Sony Music.
Okay.
So, I think that's been a huge, doing it for so long and then finally getting the opportunity and getting the recognition. Of course, that's what's been it was a huge accomplishment for me.
So that's always been your goal to be signed?
Yeah, I think so. Especially like, I said like I grew up in Canada. Yeah. So, it's a little different musically. So, really getting like the attention of like a big US label was huge. So, it was a big milestone.
Yeah, because I interview a lot of different people and I hear the thing is no money in music. So does that discourage you any type of way or how do you feel on that?
I don't think so, because I think like when people say that, it's like, well, how much money, right? For me, it's like if I could support myself doing what I love, that's all I need, right? I don't need X amount of millions. Like that's the goal, right?
Sure.
But I think like for me, music is my passion, it's my love. If I could if everyone could pay our bills, do what we love, I think we'd all be happy. So yeah.
All right, so how hard are you on yourself when it comes to your music?
Too hard. My manager would tell you way too hard. Yeah, but I think like I'm a perfectionist in every area of my life though, right? So I feel like I want to make the best music possible. I want to try different things. I want to do things people haven't heard of, right? I'll spit, sing on the same track, and it's exciting, right?
So how you choose who you want to collab with? Like you said, you got a feature with Chrissy Band.
Yeah, that's coming up. Honestly, I just like dope people. I'm an energy person, right? So it's like, if your music's good, fantastic, but if you got a good personality and you're a vibe, like that's
so you got to connect with the energy or whatever.
People, for sure.
Okay, so that's the first thing.
Yeah, because I feel like music there's something like really soul deep about music. So when you connect with people, the energy has to be good.
All right, so I never been to Canada. So tell us about the scene, the music scene over there, because Obviously everybody know Drake,
Yeah.
but let's talk about the scene over there, like far as
Yeah,
like.
the scene in Canada, it's so interesting because there's so many talented artists, so many talented artists in Toronto and in Canada. You know, you only really hear about like the super popular ones, you
Yeah,
know, Party
exactly.
Next Door,
But yeah,
Weekends,
forgot about
all
party. Yeah.
them. Yeah, Daniel Caesar. You know, we got a lot of big names, you know, and I think Drake really started the wave of like, you know, a lot of big artists coming out of Toronto. But up and coming artists, the scene's hot. Like we
So
got a
how would you find them though? Like if I was like trying to tap in, I found
yeah.
you from IG, but I
Yeah.
don't know where to search if I'm looking for more. Like
So there's different like you know the same way you have like different music accounts out here that promote local artists. There's some for Toronto as well. So you know there's Toronto Top Six, Toronto rappers, you know different accounts. But you know I feel like Toronto is like one of those like hidden gems
yeah,
where you know there's so much talent there. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a ceiling for music in Canada.
okay.
You know it's a bit different in terms of entertainment, but once you
What you mean selling? Like break that down. Like far as like
I think in Canada, in terms of like getting like the financial backing and the
okay,
like the infrastructure for music isn't the same as it is here in the US, right? Like there's a higher ceiling in terms of labels and you know just opportunities. So I think that's why like a lot of the bigger Canadian artists you don't hear about until they cross over to the US.
but why is it still like that? Being that
Yeah.
you just dropped a whole bunch of big names.
I think
So
it's changing. It's
okay,
changing.
okay.
Yeah, it's changing real fast, and it's really nice to see. So it's you've seen a lot of emerging Canadian artists now, which is super dope. Yeah.
That's fire. So you just said you got the deal, signed the deal. So
Yes.
what's next now that you got that?
What's next is I have my debut album dropping next year with East Crown Media and Sony Music. So I'm super excited about that. And yeah, so we're just gearing up for that. So just been in the studio, just working, and then yeah. So I'll keep you updated on that.
Yeah. So any other thing outside of music though that because you say you do a lot, but
Yeah, I do.
outside of music,
Yeah,
what else do you do that people might not know?
like just interests and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like outside of music, I mean,
Because I know music is your life. Obviously, I could
yeah.
just tell by the passion.
So something interesting. So my background outside of music, I'm actually in like communications and PR and marketing.
Okay.
So it's something that's like transitioned into my music career, just with like marketing myself and all that too. I would definitely like encourage any up and coming artists if you're trying to get yourself heard or seen, take marketing seriously, take social media seriously. Trust me, like it's the most important thing, almost just important as the music. So I'd say that's something about me. But I'm chill. You know, I like movies. I like TV. You know, I'm actually a big gamer. A lot of people don't know that about
Alright.
me. So yeah, I'll be on the game. But yeah, I would say that.
Alright, so if anybody is finding out who you are for the first time, what song would you tell them to play and why?
I would tell them to play Climax. So Climax by Tash Simone on all streaming. That song was just super raw emotionally. I'm spitting and singing, and I produced it as well. There's beat changes. I feel like it's just like a great example of everything I could do musically, and
Alright.
it's my single right now. So go check it out.
Alright, so what's like inspiration around the record? Like,
Yeah. So inspiration around the record is just you go through stuff in relationships, right? Whether it's good, bad, ugly, all the things. So it's definitely a joint where I storytell in it, right? It's about a real bad breakup, what you deserve, what you're not gonna put up with anymore. And I didn't hold back. I said all the things that we wish we could say. Sometimes we don't. So I think that's what it is.
nah, it's a fact. So let's talk about your writing process though. Is it about your life or is it about maybe something that your best friend told you? How do you come up with your songs and stuff like that?
So with writing, it's a mix of both. It's a
Okay.
mix of both. There's only so many experiences I can have, and I feel like I try to anyone can have, right? And I try
Yeah,
to
for
tell them
sure.
the best way I can. People I know definitely have an influence into that. I've definitely written songs from the perspective of people I know as well. And then sometimes it's imagination. And I think it's a good mix of all three, right? But at the end of the day, I have to relate to it, and I write things that I hope other people can relate to too.
All right. So how do you feel about like feedback, like constructive criticism? Like how do you take that like being a writer?
I need it. Yeah.
So you accept it
I accept it.
from
Yeah.
who though? Specific person or do
Yeah.
do the fans matter as well?
I think the Fans matter, absolutely. That's who I'm making the music for. But I think it's important to not always cater to what you think people want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's important to stay true to yourself. I listen to my team a lot. I'm very open to criticism. I think it's important. I think as artists, like we're always really sensitive about our stuff, but I think at the same time, we still need to be open to other perspectives. Depending on where you're trying to go with it, and I think that's important as too. So it's just a fine balance of being true to yourself, but also being open to other opinions.
All right, because I'm only asking that because everybody has an opinion these days, and
Yeah.
I think people get somebody giving you constructive criticism mixed with hate.
Yeah.
Like that's why I asked you about the fans, because sometimes we need that, because there's a lot of artists that I listen to. I feel like they don't evolve because they just
Yeah.
stuck in their ways. So
Yeah.
I feel like we need that part.
Yeah, and prime example, like I'll tell you right now, my label is incredible. East
Yeah.
Round Media,
Shout out to
is
them.
super super dope. Shout out to them. Shout out to Neil, my CEO, and he sent me some beats one day, and I was like, I'm not really rocking with these. I'm not gonna do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was against it for like the longest time, and then he was like, just do it. And this is a man with a lot of experience in the game, so I did it. And he's like, these is fire. And everyone around me telling me like, these tracks are fire. Like, why didn't you want to do it? Like, I don't understand. Like, these are crazy. And it's
But
songs.
what was it though?
It was just a different style outside of what I was doing.
Oh,
right?
okay.
It was a lot. It was a lot of my stuff is very soulful R&B. It was an upbeat joint. And once I did it, I realized that it wasn't that it was a bad song. It's just I had to step out of my comfort zone. So I think it's important to also listen to people who have the experience, who have the ear, because you never know. And like, you hear stories all the time, right? Usher didn't want to do Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Like
that's
you
a
hear
fact.
stories
That's
all
a
the
fact.
time, right? There was
That's
a
a
joint
fact.
Aaliyah did that she didn't want to do, and it turned into one of her biggest songs. So I think you just gotta be open about things and just kind of see where it takes you.
That's a fact. So tell us about the support you get from back home. Like,
Yeah, the support's crazy. The support's really good.
was it always like that when you first started? Like break that down. Like,
No, I think it was definitely big from like the people around me. I think it definitely took a minute to get going, but I think also too like the work you put in has to match
that's a
the
fact.
energy you want to receive back, right? So right now it's been super dope. I've been meeting a lot of people, networking, hitting up. I think just getting yourself out there, you meet more people, they hear your stuff and they gravitate towards it. So
Do the artists support each other out there though?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I think because it's so tight knit too. But even here in New York, I find it's the exact same thing. Like the artists that I'm connecting with here support each other as well, which is super dope.
Yeah, that is super dope. Because I was asking that because you said like it's hard to really break through out there. Like mostly people get their success when they come to the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people need to start supporting each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Because if not, then what's going to happen if they don't support each other?
I think that's a big reason why it's getting better in Canada too. Like why the scene is really emerging now, because that like camaraderie of like we don't need the U.S. to exactly to create our own thing, right? And I think that's been something really nice to see, just artists working together. Yeah.
All right, so you said I don't know if you said you do a lot of things. What about acting?
Acting, I haven't jumped into yet. I'm looking. I'm honestly, I'll be down to do anything though. So, yeah, it could be a thing. You never know.
What about like clothing, anything like that? Because I feel
Yeah.
like when we was talking about earlier about it's no music. I mean, it's no money in music. They was talking about as far as like the song part. They said it's money because you got to do other things like you got to do merch.
Yeah.
And you got to do other things. So is that something you see you stepping into?
1,000%. Yeah, that's something we've been doing. My EP Frequencies we dropped in September. We had a EP launch show which was super dope. We sold out. And it was a really successful event, and we had merch at that show. So it's something you got to think about, right? You got to think about things outside of the music. So that's definitely something we're working on.
All right. So what was your biggest song that you got like the biggest reaction and you knew that like damn I'm on to something?
Yeah.
Which record was that?
The biggest record right now is called Right Thing.
Okay.
It's on my EP. It actually got played at the Raptors G League game, which was mad dope earlier about a month ago. And it's been really picking up because it was a house joint. And I think house is kind of not a lost art form. It's something that's coming back, especially like in the Black community. Like that was ours. Like we bringing it back. So it was really dope to see like the reception from that track. And then Climax, the single I was talking about, my main joint. So we hit 25,000 streams within the first like 72 hours of the EP dropping. So and it was really in due part to those two tracks. So
That's fire. Is visuals already out?
Visuals are gonna come out soon. Early next year we got some visuals dropping. So yeah, I don't want to say too much about that, but they're coming.
In 2025, name something that you currently love about hip hop and R&B, and name something that you miss about it.
What I currently love 2025 is the fact that 90s is hot.
Okay,
90s is hot. We sampling 90s.
that's
We
a
bringing
fact.
back that
That's
vibe.
a fact.
What Kalani's doing right now with like that 2000s feel, I really like. So I think that's what it is. Like, the Ari Lennoxes, the Summer Walkers, the Kalani's, like that era of R&B
Yeah,
is starting to get popular again. I feel like it was dead for a little bit.
nah, that's a fact.
So yeah, I would say that.
What you miss about it though?
What I miss about it, I think, is the vibe. Like I'm 90s through and through, right? That's what my sound is really inspired by. Um, so when I hear this stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is stuff I actually want to listen to. Yeah.
All right, so you talked about the sampling. Like,
Mm,
I'm gonna be honest with you, I like a little bit of it,
yeah.
but I feel like that's the problem. Too many people are doing the same
Yeah.
thing, yo, and I feel like we need to stop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody got to get back to being different, like we was talking before
Yeah.
off a camera, like how Atlanta is.
Mm,
Atlanta don't have that different sound no more. Everybody got that. Everybody's drill rappers. Remember,
yeah.
Atlanta was different. We had the Ludacris's, like,
Outcast, all that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we gotta. I feel like we gotta get back to that. So as a writer, I feel like they don't get enough credit. I feel like the writer
Hmm.
should be big as the star.
Yeah.
Speak on that. Do you feel? How do you feel about that? Because the writers
Yeah.
don't get enough credit.
They
They
don't.
create the song,
They
the
don't.
idea, the process.
Yeah.
Like,
Writing is like, next to production, right? And I think that's what's missing. I think that's the biggest part of what was missing right now, right? Is writing. Um, and I think that, like, right now with R&B, I think R&B right now the writing's really good, right? And I think a big part of it too is you have writers that are becoming like the forefront. So you have artists like Money Long, you have artists that, like, like their bread and butter is writing. So they're getting recognition for that. They're coming out with like big songs, right? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's different because, like, even when you hear rap tracks now, like, I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but like a lot of rappers right
that's
now,
so
you
good.
when you look at the credits of a rap song, there's 12 writers on that.
Yeah,
And it's like the whole point of why rap was beautiful was because you had to know how to write your rap, right? So I feel like that's a big difference between now. But when it comes to R&B, I think that art form of storytelling, and that's what's missing, is storytelling,
that's a
right?
fact.
It's storytelling. It's innuendo. It's all these things that you can listen to a track and like truly relate to it. So I'm an old head in that sense
Nah, that's
where
a fact. We need to get back to that. I feel like
yeah,
we moving back towards that. You know what
I
I
think
mean?
so too.
I feel like people getting back to really spitting, like,
Yeah.
and talking about something other than this
Yeah.
bang bang shoot 'em up. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can still talk about it, but it's a certain way,
Yeah.
and that's storytelling. Like, you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So I have a theory about that. I think like the SoundCloud era was super dope because it allowed like artists, who didn't have the label recognition or any of that to, like, create their own platform and opportunities. But I think in that there's like this oversaturation of music, right? And I think now, because there is so much oversaturation, we're kind of getting to the point where it's like, no, you kind of have to be good now,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
And
fact.
that's like starting to shine through, right? So we're kind of like getting to a zone where we're like, you kind of, there's so much more competition now where you got to be good.
Yeah, but I feel like it is oversaturated. It's like, who do you choose to support? You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I feel like the next person is the knockoff of the next person.
Yeah.
They already knock off of a celebrity already that's already big, so they continue to knock it off. Like, so this leads to my next question. Being that is oversaturated, so many artists, and I know you talented because I heard you, but for somebody that's never heard your music, why should they support you?
Why should they support me? I think, I'm multifaceted, right? I write, and writing's been my first love, sing, rap, produce. And I don't take shortcuts. I don't make things that are just catchy to be catchy. If you listen to my songs, you listen to a story, right? You listen to something that comes from the soul, and you're listening to things that are, inspired by people that, you know, big storytellers from the 90s, from the 2000s. So I think that's why, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I would never tell someone just to support me. Like, check me out. Let me know what you think. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
So
that's a
like,
fact.
yeah,
That's a fact. So who have you ever been compared to? Like because
true.
well,
I think so. A running
I
thing right
can't if
now,
I if
people.
I could think of I can't even think of nobody to compare you because you got to be honest you got so many styles
Mhm.
and you great at them. Like
Appreciate you.
I never heard any artist that was just like they could rap and really good. They could sing really good. Like the songs you was playing, it was I just heard nothing but hits. And I ain't even gassing you because we doing I'm
Yeah,
really being honest with you right now.
appreciate you.
So who have you ever got compared to? And you was like, oh, I felt like
So I get to everyone compares me to 90s artists, which is like a huge compliment to me because you know it's not something I try to do. I realize it's something that comes naturally. You know, a running thing right now is people call me the new Gen Missy.
oh
You
what
know,
I could
with
see
the
that. Yeah, I could see that now with the style,
with the
fact.
singing, the writing, the
Okay.
producing. You know, I get compared to Aaliyah stylistically
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah,
You know,
I could Timberland beat
yeah, in my
label.
production,
Hello, send it
you know,
Timberland beat.
but I would say the most I get compared to a lot is Missy. Early days Missy, I would
How you
say, yeah.
feel about that though? Like getting
That's like
compared to that.
whew, the biggest compliment.
Would
Like
you ever want to collab with her?
that's
Like,
my dream. To
drink
get in the
collab.
studio with someone. It would be Missy, 1000%.
So she's a huge influence.
Yeah, definitely. I think just seeing, you know, a woman who is producing, you know, writing, recording, and doing that at you know the peak, like the for the top of the top. Absolutely.
All right, so if your label gets you that type of budget, like you'll have like music videos. I'm talking about
Yeah.
like for us the music, because I like
Yeah.
that's one thing I loved about her. It
Mhm.
wasn't because she was different. Like she actually
Yeah.
put effort in her music videos, and I
Yeah.
feel that's another thing what artists don't do. Because I feel like everybody being cheap. Like if you love
Yeah.
something, you passionate about it, spend money on it because it's gonna come back. It's a business.
Hmm.
You gotta invest. So
Absolutely.
is that gonna be in your future? Like if you,
Well, the super dope thing is
Mhm.
that my label is actually a media company. So it is more than just
Hello,
music. You know, we they do film, TV shows, music videos. So there's really a big
that's fire.
emphasis on that when they come out. So that's something I'm super excited about too, to tell the visual story of that side of things as well.
All right, so last question. Well, it ain't a question. Can you just shout out anybody, or if it's more than one person that been
Hmm.
supporting you
Yeah.
since day one? Because I
Hmm.
interview a lot of artists, and that's the biggest thing. They don't get support, and
Yeah.
they look for support from their loved ones at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they don't get it, and they get discouraged. So just shout out anybody that been holding you down.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, first and foremost, I'm gonna shout out my pops, my dad, because that's been probably the number one influence and inspiration for me. So shout out DJ BDR, you know, what's good,
What
pops.
up, pops?
I'm gonna shout out Big Blocks. He's been part of my management team. He's been holding me down since I was, you know, 16, 17 years old. So big shout out to you. Shout out to Erica King, Dope Dame right now. She's been in my corner, really, really supporting me. I want to shout out my best friend, makeup artist, videographer. If you follow Tash Simone Official, you know what's up already. So shout out Aura Visuals. Shout out Alicia Taylor, Artiste Photography, my management. She's been holding me down with Artiste Management. Yeah, and just shout out to everyone from day one who's been rocking with me. I appreciate you.
That's what's up. So, do you like have a like words of encouragement to like the youth that's trying
Hmm.
to do what you doing? I don't know your journey per se. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if it been like a struggle. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Being that you had like music influence, like your pops was the DJ, but
Hmm.
say if you didn't have that, like, how do you
Yeah.
think you would?
It's been ups and downs. I think
Okay,
there's no straight road. You know what I'm saying? So like there's time. You know, I had periods of years where I wasn't pushing as hard as I needed to, or I was discouraged and all that. And I think every artist goes through that, right? What I would say though, the thing that really made me sit up and just keep
mm,
rocking with it was that instead of saying why me, you know, why should I do this? Say why not you?
that's a
Because I
fact.
guarantee you there are people out there who are less talented than you, who have less support, but just because they just keep doing it, they're consistent, they're getting the opportunity. So I would say just keep pushing. You know, talent doesn't lie. You
Nah,
know,
that's
if
a
you're
fact.
talented, right? And sometimes it's the bigger personalities that get the recognition, and that can be discouraging. But all it is consistency.
I like that. Respectfully. All right. This shout out where they can follow you and support you at your social
Of
media
course. So
handles.
you can follow me on Tash Simone Official on all social media, Instagram, TikTok. You can visit tashofficial.com to lock in with me. And that's about it. Yeah, tap in with your girl.
All right. Once again, it's your boy Seek representing the Hello Effect podcast. You know what I mean? This wrapped up an amazing interview, you know what I mean, with Tash Simone. I'm pretty sure you'll see her again. Make
Absolutely.
sure you follow and support her. You know what I mean? Thanks for tuning in. Till we meet again. Hello.